Hi everyone, we're back, and now we're at the third portion of the tutorial starting from scratch, which by the way is probably the one I like the least. However, it is most important. JavaScript. JavaScript, now we're actually doing programming, and I don't have any verification as to why it's called JavaScript. It's not Java. There is a programming language called Java, which is object-oriented C programming. That's not JavaScript related. I guess because JavaScript kind of resembles Java in some way, shape, or form, but we're not building classes, we're just making models. There's a big difference. We're going to get into classes and, well, not models, we're going to get into classes and objects later. But what JavaScript is, it's your front-end programming. It's your interactive user interface programming, which can have these boxes do things when you click on them, can have these pictures do things when you scroll on them, can have this do something when the window opens up and everything. What JavaScript does is it takes everything, the entire document, the entire window, everything here, and gives you user interface functionality. Now, the problems with JavaScript are, first of all, you have to really understand identifying. You have to really understand how to put everything together in a programming's mentality. You have to have a programmer's mentality per se, overall. And another problem with JavaScript is it doesn't have a compiler, which means you don't get error messages. If you screw up JavaScript, it's like screwing up HTML or CSS. It just doesn't show up. Whatever buttons you programmed, whatever links you've programmed, whatever you've done will just not work. Now, if my right mouse button would work, I would be able to show you that sub window where we can get the elements. And again, mind my voice, I'm sorry, I still haven't recovered. I'm still kind of under the weather. I've gotten over it. I've gotten over my fever and stuff, so I'm getting a lot better. But my voice still sounds like dog shit. So excuse me, I'm going to try my best. We're going to still do full videos here. I'm not gonna mess around. But like I was saying, I would show you how the elements window would give you error messages for JavaScript. But I can't show you on-screen errors because JavaScript either works or it doesn't. That's how it is. Now, there are many things you can also do with JavaScript. You can send data with JavaScript on a button press. You can save data in other files with a button press. You can do a lot of things with button presses, with loads. Pretty much every single aspect of your screen can be programmed with some form of JavaScript. Again, your cell phone applications, everything that you interact with, JavaScript, to an extent. Some of it can also be Java. But whatever the case, JavaScript is a big portion of making websites. Unless you just want content, you just want pages with shit, you can do HTML, you can do CSS, you can have .html as your thing. It's totally up to you. But if you want people to be able to do stuff like even comment, well, you don't really need JavaScript for comments. You need something else. But if you did, school bus, if you did want to have some kind of commentary that loads immediately, you want JavaScript. See, JavaScript is instant. It's on screen. It's front end. It happens like that. And with everybody being so obsessed with information being available immediately, whenever you go to a YouTube, or like if I go to YouTube, if I wanted to look for something here and you see this is JavaScript. It's taking information here and then it's sending it to another file behind the scenes and sifting through a search and then sending it back and printing it out in this box here. If I were to do that, JavaScript. Anything that you see on the screen that happens instantly is JavaScript. So there are so many different ways you can integrate JavaScript. And again, we're doing vanilla JavaScript. We're not doing React. We're not doing JQuery. We're not doing Vue. We're not doing any of that shit. We're doing straight up Angular. We're not doing any of that. Okay, we're not making a site in JavaScript. because there are some issues with JavaScript, aside from the ones that I don't like it and it's ugly. Issues with JavaScript, you don't want to put private information up on the screen with JavaScript because JavaScript can be easily hacked. It's front end. There aren't really any kind of decode options. You can make your own cross-site referencing token programming or program or scenario. Again, we're not up to that yet, but even that you don't want on the front end. So if you're making a site in Angular or Vue, whatever, it's the whole site runs on JavaScript, and it becomes easily approachable, easily accessed by hackers. So you don't want JavaScript as anything more if you're looking to secure your site than just, getting a quick update on some kind of messaging commentary or whatever, or messaging system or whatever, doing simple stuff like having an on-screen or an immediate error messaging system like that. That's all you want JavaScript really to do. Anything else you want working on the back end, you don't want the front end to do it. Now, there are two ways that you can integrate JavaScript, and one is to do it on the screen, to do it right on the HTML page itself. In the head area, you can type in script and then close. And then within these brackets, you can type in your JavaScript. Or you can go down here in the body, script, and type in your JavaScript. We, of course, are not going to do it that way because then everybody can see what you're doing. Unless their right mouse button doesn't work, like mine. What we're going to do is we're going to do the only form of JavaScripting I do, off-screen JavaScripting. So you go script source equals, and we do HTML, HTML practice, JS, and we'll go practice.js. Close it out. Now, let's get our Let's get our, this is a folder, right? Let's get our JS. Yeah, I'll just, and let's get another file, and we'll call it practice. Whoop, that's CSS, JS. Let's rename that. Alright, fine. Delete it. Don't worry, I'm going to get a new mouse soon. Okay, so now we have practice.js. Now the way JavaScript works is this is called digital object model. It's a digital object model. What that means is every single thing on this screen is a digital object. What is an object, you ask? Because we haven't done programming yet. We've done simple coding. Big difference. An object is, it's a built, it's hard to say without saying object. Excuse me. It's a built entity that has certain functionality linked to it. So what that means is every one of these, this input field, this header, this picture, it all with JavaScript has the potential to be manipulated in specific functional ways because every single aspect of your page is a digital object. And now, all we have to do is reference it. So I'll give you, for instance, it would be hard for me to explain without showing. So let's just do something. We'll do this. If I go window, right? Now I'm referencing the window. The window is the whole page, right? Document is what's in here. So the window is all of this. JavaScript and HTML and everything related to JavaScript, excuse me, pardon me. It knows this keyword will tell it in a JavaScript file, not just randomly. It knows when it sees window that that we're looking at the entire page, everything here. When it sees document, it's what's on the page here. So if I were to say window, now window has all sorts of functions that it can use with a dot. In JavaScript, every single function and every child function and every subfunction is separated with a dot. So if I were to say something like onload, now we have the object dot the functionality. And what do I want to do when we load? I want to equal that, or I want this object to now be tied to a function that we then, if we want to put within the function, we need to open brackets. So I say onload equals function, open brackets, and within the brackets now, we're building a function, we're building some functionality to this object that already has a function, which is onload. So when this object loads, or when this object commits to this function, we want to create our own function, and we're going to alert vacuum, right? Close with a semicolon. Now, what that means is when I hit refresh, vacuum just pops up. Why? Because I took the window object, I gave it the already pre-programmed, it's already included in JavaScript, function onload, which means when I load up the window, we are then going to tie that or bind that to a function that we create on our own. And what you do is you open function brackets with parentheses, right? We're not returning anything, so there's nothing in there. Open bracket, close bracket, so it knows where the function starts and where it ends. And then we put in the built-in function of alert, and we said vacuum in the alert. That's what this is. This is an alert box. And that's all it is. That's what JavaScript is. It's just, I did an onload, pop, here comes an alert box. Now, if you look at something like that, you could put in here like a login system. You can put in here, you know, please wait. And then somebody would be like, all right, not realizing there's a button there that you can just hit, okay. So it's a simple idea, but the reason why when you see JavaScript made by professionals, it appears as though it's this mad jumble of dots and this, that, and the other thing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, I'm going to get better. Don't worry. I'm getting better. The reason why it looks like there's all these dots of nonsense, whatever, is because programmers are pretentious, and they just like to keep making functions and building functions and make everything easier for themselves by making it more difficult to read and whatever. Really, all you need to know is you get the object, you dot it, you put what function you want with it, then you can even dot it further. I mean, onload's kind of, and then you bind it to a function, and you can build that function and let it do what you want. We could do something else. Let's do a different trick. Let's do the document. Document, onload. We'll say function, and we'll say, let's get, let's put an ID. When we were talking IDs, oh yeah, the head right here. And we'll say Actually, wait, no, let's not do document. Let's do this. You can't unload the document. We'll go document, which is what's on the page. Get element by ID. Well, what element has an ID? The header, known as the ID, the head. So we get that. All right. And at this point now, we've grabbed the head element. And now we can do several things with it. We can say dot inner HTML equals, whoops, it changed. And we hit reload. Whoops, it changed. Now what if you don't want it to happen when you load the document? Well, what you can do is you can say, we can do something with this button. All right? Let's enable this button, which is its default. And let's say on click equals change. Now, on click, and we're going to go through all these different things, is a listener. And what that then does is it tells the JavaScript to listen for the click function, which is just us clicking on it. And when it clicks, go to the JavaScript function that we are going to proclaim here, change. I think I might have to change the name. And we'll go document, get element by ID, the head, whoops, it changed. End it with a semicolon. Get used to that in programming. Now, that means if I do this, whoops, it changed. See? That's all it is. JavaScript is not difficult. It's like I said, it's ugly. I don't like it, but you got to do it. We got to do it. So we're going to get more into, like I said, listeners. I'm going to try to explain to you what listeners are. I'm going to explain to you what other different functions are. We're going to start building our own functions. We're going to have some fun. So I'll be back in just a second.